beautiful house. You may ask yourself, where does that highway lead to? You may ask yourself.
You know, people throw the word legend around a lot, and it's not often deserved, but in this case, it is. David Byrne is a music legend, and he's one of the most creative all-around artists alive. So let's go to the early 70s, okay? David went to a prestigious art school in Rhode Island before he dropped out and decided to form a new wave band. That band were called Talking Heads. Probably the best thing he ever did, right? In the 70s and 80s, Talking Heads became one of the most influential groups in music. They were anti-corporate, they were experimental, and they helped revolutionize music videos. Fast forward to 2002, and then that experimental band, Talking Heads, were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. David's also done a lot of solo work as well as a musician. He's been honored by the Grammys, by the Golden Globes. Hell, the guy even won an Academy Award for the soundtrack to The Last Emperor. But it's not just about his music. David has also created a world music label. He is an accomplished visual artist. Some of his recent public works include turning an entire building into a gigantic musical instrument. He's designed a series of bike racks for New York City, and these days he's teamed up again with music whiz Brian Eno, and they've got a new album together called Everything That Happens Will Happen Today. Brian did the music, David did the lyrics and the voice, and they're calling it gospel folk electronic. This would be a sample.
Strange overtones in the music you are playing. I'll harmonize.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Byrne.
Great to see you. You know, it's great to have you here. We've done this show this is our 5th season. You may be the first guest who has ever arrived on his own bicycle.
Yeah. For a while, when I tour, and even when I'm not, when I'm in one place for a while, I have a full-size folding bike that I'll bring along, and it gives me a sense of freedom in the towns I'm in. I can explore, go to museums, parks, whatever happens to be I hear about, as long as the weather's not too bad.
Sure. Well, it's cold today and you still rode.
Yeah, it's got a little cold sometimes. But it's just the feeling that you're not trapped in a hotel. You don't have to go get somewhere by cab. You can kind of wander around wherever you want to go.
How much does that comes from the fact that you've done a lot of touring over your career, and I suspect there'd be big stretches of tours where you barely got to see the city you were in.
There were years where, yes, as with a lot of touring musicians, I think you start to get in this kind of loop of hotel, hang out in the bar afterwards, the show, get on the bus or whatever, and then it's just the same thing over and over again, and you can see, okay, down that road lies madness. Yeah. And so you have to go, no, I have to kind of get myself out of there and say, no, I'm a human being. I can take control of my life. I can do something besides the other stuff besides the performing.
Well, and you have a bicycle. You didn't bring it in here. You actually locked it outside.
Yeah, it's locked outside.
Yeah. When you lock it in bike racks in different cities, do you lament the fact that they're not your bike racks? Because you have designed bicycle racks in New York.
Yeah, but there's not very many of them. They're kind of like one of a kind.
There's like a high heel shoe. There's a car. There's a lot of. How do you get to design bike racks for a city? Do you just go, hi, I'm David Byrne. Can I do this?
Kind of. Well, kind of, sort of. Yeah. I'd become kind of a little bit active in kind of promoting biking around New York, and the Department of Transportation got wind of that, and they said, "Will you judge? We're going to revamp the bike racks here. Will you judge the competition?" So I said, "Of course I'll do it." And by the way, here's some amusing ideas of my own. This is not serious. This is just kind of for fun. Maybe you can put them on your website to kind of spur the kind of more out of the box thinking. And they said, "We love these. You get them made, we'll put them up. We do own the sidewalks, so we can say that." Mm-hmm. So yeah, I got. They were done for each neighborhood. The high heel shoe was done for, I think, 5th Avenue and 57th Street, just fancy shopping area. Sure. There's one in the shape of a dollar sign that's went up on Wall Street. I don't know how many hedge fund guys are actually using that, although they might be using it now.
Yeah, no kidding. Nobody has cars anymore, limo drivers, they're all screwed. It's a neat existence for you in that you've found a way to kind of, you've used the term before, you're a survivor in the music business, but you found a way to be able to kind of do all these little things on the side.
Yeah, and it wasn't, I don't think, by design. You just fall into it like that. You just kind of go, one thing leads to another, and instead of saying, no, I can't do that, you go, well, sure, why not? Mm-hmm. Let's do this.
Is that how the new Eno record, you and Brian Eno together, is that how that came to be?
Yeah, well, we'd obviously worked together in the past, but this was just kind of off, oh, hey, I have a couple of tracks, and hey, I know how to write words, and...
Well, he had songs, and he hates writing lyrics, right?
Yeah, he may not say that, but yeah, I think you could paraphrase it that.
Yeah. So he's not big on writing lyrics, and you've obviously written some great lyrics. And did you say to him, "Hey, I can do this for you"?
Yes, I can say I can give it a shot. This is something I know how to do. I've had practice doing this, and if you don't like it, then we stop it right there. We don't tell people we're making a record. We don't even tell ourselves we're making a record. We just try a song or two and see what happens. So there was no pressure. But there was so much no pressure that I think I waited a year to get started on it. So there must have been some kind of pressure. But I think I felt the weight of what stuff we'd done in the past, and probably thought, oh, I have to take this first step. It has to be kind of the right first step to get going in the right direction.
Well, and the weight are a handful of Talking Heads records that
all this stuff.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, we can't do anything that sounds just like that. It can't be like a repeat of what we've done, but obviously it's going to have some connection.
I wondered if were there chances in the middle where you were going to work with him again?
I probably would have. I think we were both just going our own way, doing other things. I know he was producing a lot of records for a while there. Still is.
Still is, yeah. Like you said, you take it about a year before you got going on it. And that weight, are you the kind of artist that works well with the pressure of saying, we make sure we cannot be like this? Do you work well in that environment?
I work well with an assignment, which is in a way what this was. And it was that he would give me his music already done. It wasn't like his dictate, but physically, I couldn't manipulate it. I couldn't like say, oh, I wish that guitar part weren't there. I had to take it as it was. So it was like an assignment. Okay, make a song out of this. Which I work pretty well like that. It kind of reduces your options. And you go, okay, this is what I have. These are the options I have. These are the restrictions. That's great. Your imagination can't run too wild.
You never called him and said, you got to lose that loop. That doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Might have been.
A couple of times. You'd be the only guy who would tell Brian that.
It might have been one little part, but okay, not much.
Because you're so creative and you have all these things you want to do artistically, is there something you're looking on your horizon saying, I need to do that? There's something left to do. I mean, because you think bike racks would be it. Bike racks are pretty good. But is there something else where you go, that's where I need to go next? Wow. No. I'm sure there will be, but I'm sure it'll be something I'll just stumble into, where an opportunity will present itself and go, yes, that's what I should be doing. When people talk about the late 70s in New York City in the early 80s, they talk about your band, and they talk about it from the perspective of outsiders. Was it like how it's perceived today?
Well, to me, it did feel like, although the bands at that time were musically, a lot of them, very different from one another, I think it did feel like we were trying to overthrow some kind of the rock dinosaurs. That didn't really happen.
Although...
I mean, some of them fall by themselves.
Sure.
But, I mean, you may like them, you may not like them, but the Eagles, for example, was one of the bands that we were probably, all the bands at that time probably thought, we have to overthrow bands like that.
Too. We really wish we had.
But their last record, I think, was the biggest selling record in the world.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it was good.
But that means that, yeah, the revolution really didn't happen in that kind of way. But it did happen in another kind of way.
How about this revolution? Led Zeppelin, minus Robert Plant, going back on the road. They need a singer.
They need this. Wow.
Come on, give Jimmy a call.
I did a karaoke version of Whole Lotta Love once, but it was, yeah, I don't think I can do that.
That's all right. It's great to see you. Yeah, the album's called Everything That Happens Will Happen Today. You can actually download it at everythingthathappens.com. It'll be in stores on November the 25th as well. Thanks for coming in, David
Thank
Byrne.
you.
Real pleasure. David Byrne, everybody. The hour will be right back.
You know, people throw the word legend around a lot, and it's not often deserved, but in this case, it is. David Byrne is a music legend, and he's one of the most creative all-around artists alive. So let's go to the early 70s, okay? David went to a Prisk as well as a musician. He's been honored by the Grammys, by the Golden Globes. Hell, the guy even won an Academy Award for the soundtrack to The Last Emperor. But it's not just about his music. David has also created a world music label. He is an accomplished visual artist. Some of his recent public works include turning an
what is that beautiful house? May I ask?
They were anti-corporate, they were experimental, and they helped revolutionize music videos. Fast forward to 2002, and then that experimental band Talking Heads were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. David's also done a lot of solo work, prestigious art school in Rhode Island, before he dropped out and decided to form a new wave band. That band were called Talking Heads. Probably the best thing he ever did, right? In the 70s and 80s, Talking Heads became one of the most influential groups in music.